welcome to URBONUS podcast. I'm the host Donatas URBONUS, and I'm joined by my colleagues, partner in crime, Rytis Vyšniauskas, and also Augustas Šuliauskas. We're glad to see you here together with us.
Welcome back, guys.
Yeah, nice to be back in Vilnius.
How do you feel after the EuroBasket? I mean, we've been on road with Rytis for 21 days. It's crazy.
Guys, I saw your faces coming in today into the office, and I think that tells all the story.
Yeah, I'm tired, really. And you know, yesterday we had some flight delays. We arrived later than expected. I couldn't get proper sleep because my employers wanted to have a photo shoot before the upcoming basketball season and everything. I had to wake up really early in the morning. And, you know, it's stupid to say that I feel a jet lag because of 1 hour difference, but I really feel tired because of all the traveling and obviously the workload that we had in Germany. But at the same time, it was a great experience. And yesterday was a great moment to finally see my girlfriend and my dog after a while, because it feels like we've been gone for at least 3 months or half a year. I don't know. It looks like Cologne, the group stage, was last year.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I took a morning nap this morning because the sleep I got this night was just not enough. I was dreaming EuroBasket. There was some situation, something happened with Rudy Gobert. He got in trouble. Evan Fournier was making some
referees part of your dream?
Could be. But the all EuroBasket 5 was part of my dream. And for some reason, I've got in a room where it was about, where were people who were preparing jerseys of these players who made the all EuroBasket team. And I'm just looking, there's Ignas Brazdeikis jersey, and there was some other guy from the group stage, let's say from the team Netherlands or Great Britain. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I started shouting. I started asking, what's the formula of this, voting for the all EuroBasket team? And I was so pissed actually and I just woke up then. I mean, it just, that's how it stuck to my mind, this whole EuroBasket experience. And basically working since the moment you wake up. There were a lot of mornings where I had breakfast with laptop opened and just watching some games, and then usually we finished our job at midnight or something. So
guys,
it was crazy. You also had a lot of stuff to do. I mean, you stay home, but you made so many video breakdowns, both for BasketNews.com and for FIBA, right?
Yeah, a lot of work. But anyway, I didn't see you guys for a lot of time. I wanted to say publicly kudos to both of you for Rytis commenting most of the games here in Lithuania with your colleague Tautvydas.
Yeah.
Donatas writing a lot of articles behind the scenes, so much stuff for the BasketNews.com project, so much interesting stuff. So I just wanted to publicly, compliment you guys for the excellent work that you did.
Thanks, man.
It was really amazing to listen to Rytis and to read your stories. It was super cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
So now you were there, and I was here back home. So I was just seeing the games on the TV. What will be the moment that you will remember, let's say after 5 years, when somebody mentions EuroBasket 2022? It can be not the game, not the performance. It could be a behind the scenes moment that you saw.
Right.
And that will stuck with you even after 5 or 10 years when somebody mentions this EuroBasket. What is the first moment that comes to your mind?
To me, it's still about one single game. Like from 2019 China, I will forever remember Australia, France. Super high level basketball. And the same with this EuroBasket 2022, it's Greece, Germany. A crazy game. Like an NBA playoff game on a FIBA EuroBasket court, something like that. You have Giannis trying to beat the wall. You have Germans shooting threes like crazy. Andreas Sops getting hot. They finished the game with 17 3-pointers. You had crazy second quarter buzzer beater by Lukas from half court. And the scoreline after 2 quarters, I believe, was 61-57. Very high scoring game, but at the same time, you cannot say that teams were not defending. Just the quality of offense was crazy. Some players were unstoppable. Some players were playing to their limits. And Giannis was really great, but he got 2 unsportsmanlike fouls and he was ejected from the game. So the game had everything. It was a full house. It was a sold out because in the finals, what we were lacking was the atmosphere. And this game, Greece-Germany, was the highlight of the tournament to me. So I cannot single out any like particular moment, even though there were some. Like I still have it in my mind, stuck in my mind, when Lorenzo Brown just slipped and the referee was standing right there and he just blew a foul to Thomas Hurtel. Like Hurtel then ran away like this. What the hell is happening here?
Doing a victory lap around.
And I was
just laughing.
Quite further.
I was
quite
just laughing.
further away, but immediately I said on a broadcast, "Dude just slipped, and the ref gave a foul. It's ridiculous!" Like, and then it was shown on the video box, and all the fans saw it, and everybody started laughing. Like, and then the ref, as usually, goes and gives a
Teed up.
technical.
Yeah. That was.
I will remember all these. I will remember the feeling of witnessing of these amazing individual performances, especially starting from Luka Doncic. Basically, every day we saw his greatness in Cologne. Then, of course, there was Giannis, and this feeling will be combined with the feeling of such a consistent feeling of upset coming. I mean, when you think that, Serbia losing to Italy is going to be the biggest upset of the tournament, then there's this game Germany-Greece, then there's Slovenia-Poland, where you kind of expect, it's going to be an easy game, we're going to finish our job pretty quickly, we will go to party somewhere, and it just blows off because somehow Slovenia loses to Poland. So that will be the combination of these two feelings of witnessing the greatness and witnessing probably record number of upsets we had in this tournament. What about you?
You were just waiting for a break, and then it's
Exactly.
an even bigger upset, and one after the other.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it was watching from home.
Yeah.
I think Serbia, Italy.
Okay, because you're half
I'm
Italian.
biased,
Yeah,
but
so
I mean that game was just out of this world. I don't know. From the game itself, the 3-pointers, the way Italy played, and you cannot mention all the emotions from Gianmarco Pozzecco. He just stole the show with all the content. And I just remember now myself scrolling Twitter after the game and seeing him jumping on Giannis, seeing him almost costing the game for Italy because he was in the arena when the game was not finished. And I'm like, this is just too much. This is crazy. And
then giving the credit card to Marcos Pisa.
Yeah, it's just so much content, so much stories, and I was not believing what was happening. And the game itself wasn't even the biggest story when it was, like you said, probably one of the first of many upsets that came. But
Right.
everything off the court stole the show from the let's say players and the victory.
But I actually have a conflict with myself sometimes, and I'm thinking, how do I analyze the EuroBasket better? Being there physically, but covering only a limited number of games, only from the group stage where I'm at, like Cologne in this case, or being at home and absorbing everything that I can. Because sometimes I think that if I was here in Vilnius, from our TV studio, for example, I could cover more games. I would watch more group games, not only Lithuania, but other groups that played in Prague, Milan, and Tbilisi. And perhaps in the podcast material, I would have even more to say. However, being there physically gives you some other advantages. Like you meet journalists from other countries, you have some nice conversations. Even in a hotel lobby, you sometimes bump into people. I had one crazy evening where randomly I just spent a couple of hours with a basketball agent, a coach from an NBA team, a great friend of Tomasz Satoransky, and a goalkeeper from Slavia Prague, who was also a huge basketball
That's
fan.
a random mix of people.
That's a random mix of people, but it brings a lot of great conversation. So probably it's better to be there and to experience everything. But being in your position, you probably watched more games and you analyzed more.
From the work perspective, I would say that it's more comfortable to be here and watch the games online from the TV because I can watch multiple games. If you have multiple screens, I can just download the other game whenever I want after it finishes. And because when you finish your work, you go to the lobby or the hotel and you see all these people and you cannot, continue working. And it's not normal hours that probably we did during this EuroBasket, but you can watch more games, you can analyze more, and on the podcasts you can say more than. But the experience that you get there is worth
it's
it.
unquestionable. Yeah.
From my side, it was even more challenging because there were a lot of situations where we're just finishing the post game stuff with mixed zone interviews, with press conferences. Then you have to put all these articles. And for example, I came into the arena for the final game just at the end of the first quarter. And there were a lot of situations where just doing some stuff for the first half and you're just trying to watch the game in the second half. Then, of course, you already have to think about what you're going to do in the post game, what you're going to focus on. And that's the reason why, especially before our podcast, I rewatched so many games actually the following morning before the podcast because I just didn't see something. So we kind of knew what we are going to discuss, the main things, the main highlights of the tournament. So I just needed to rewatch these games. And of course, being in August's position, if it's always better to watch the game on TV if you just want to have the best analysis of the game. Because
I can go back 10 seconds immediately.
Exactly,
after
and
the
you're
play.
not disturbed by any noise, by some other circumstances. They're also important in this job. So, but yeah, these experiences has their own advantages. What you guys, anything to add?
No.
What you guys gonna remember about this EuroBasket final? Because one of our main topics for today is, of course, Spain winning the EuroBasket. We have to discuss the final game. But what you gonna remember the most about that?
My main take is that good, smart basketball always beats bigger names on paper. Like France were not playing good basketball throughout the tournament, and it has to be said. They had the most turnovers. There was always huge chaos in the way they played. They were lacking ball handlers. I mean, when Tomar Tel is your best ball handler, it probably says a lot about your team.
Can be a scorer, but not your best ball handler.
Exactly. He's a pick and roll scorer. That's it. He can be a good guard in a team that has plenty others. But in this case, it's not such a big surprise they were turning over the ball so many times, and even in the final, 19 turnovers. And Spain, they just proved that with the right ideas and with the right people to execute them, with the very smart coaching staff, you can do a lot of great stuff in a tournament like this. And it's just, I had a feeling before the final that Spain is the better team. I don't care about the names on the roster like Gobert, Fournier, probably bigger names than Brown or Hernan Gomez brothers, but
especially in the NBA context.
Yeah, for sure. But I just thought that Spain is the better basketball team, and that's it. So that's my main take, and it was proven on the court. They were playing better basketball. They had better tactical decisions. They didn't adjust to France playing with two centers. Vice versa, Juancho Hernan Gomez from the fourth position just hitting those threes like crazy. And Vincent Collet had to react. It was impossible for him to continue with Poirier in the fourth position. Zone defense for 2 possessions straight was punished. So Scariolo had this game in his pocket from the very beginning in my eyes.
Scariolo's matchup record against Vincent Collet in the FIBA playoffs is 6-0.
Yep.
I mean, it tells a lot.
Yep.
Jordan.
Crazy.
Yep.
Now, for me, it was... I told yesterday on the Lithuanian podcast we did that, this cliche of basketball, talent wins games, defense wins championships. And not only for the final, but we saw 2 of the best, let's say, defensive teams because France didn't play good basketball, but they played good defense.
Yeah.
And, with some luck, let's say. And there were 2 best defensive teams in the final. And after all, Spain won with their mix of defenses, with their adjustments. Like you said, Scariolo had a counter for every move that Collet had prepared. For when they played with 2 bigs, it was Juancho playing off-ball screens, slip screens. It made it uncomfortable for Fall and Gobert. And then they threw zone. It's 2 3-pointers. Then again, I rewatched the game, and there will be a breakdown coming out about it. And it seemed like every time Spain went into a zone, whether it was box and 1, 1-2 zone defense, it was a turnover coming from France. I didn't count the turnovers, but I think at least 8 or 10 turnovers came after playing different zone defenses.
What was interesting that after the game, Evan Fournier was mostly focused on that the other team was very well prepared tactically. They were prepared for every possession. Yeah, and it felt like there were some, things he said about his own coach.
I mean, it's obvious you should not be able, not maybe the player, but we can say it, like Scariolo outplayed Cole, like Scariolo outplayed Lithuanian coach Maksvidis, like he did. I mean, it wasn't that obvious, but also in the semifinal, the box and one worked with 5 minutes left against Germany as well.
He basically outplayed every coach, and that's the reason why he might be the GOAT in FIBA basketball.
So I have like a few questions about France and Vincent Collet. Do you think that Spain's tactical plan forced Yabusele and Gobert to be distributors, or was it like random set of plays for France, like short roll with Gobert, and all of a sudden he's in a passing position where he's not very good? Because we have 7 turnovers combined from the bigs, Yabusele and Gobert.
I believe it was a choice by Scariolo, because you saw that they started the game with a hedge or a step out against Fournier, and it made Gobert the short roller. And in the third quarter, after halftime, Cole made an adjustment. He made, and you noticed it immediately on the broadcast. Yeah. He played the pick and roll with the 4 with Yabusele.
Yes.
And he made a mid-range jumper on the short roll. It was immediately better. But after that, after like 5 minutes, Cole in the first quarter, Cole decided to play Spain pick and roll.
Yes.
So you usually don't defend Spain pick and roll with a hedge. You put the big man to drop, and so you avoid the hedge. But then it was the Spain guards that made the difference, with aggressive steals and stuff. So I think it was the move from Scariolo that made Gobert the short roller.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, France had one of the worst points per possession record. They were better only when Estonia, Georgia, and Great Britain. It tells a lot. Although, as we mentioned, it was one of the best.
When you're starting a game with the lineup of Albisi, Tarpe, and Fournier. So Fournier is your only ball handler.
And it wasn't a good tournament for him.
It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. Although he was scoring, but not consistently. His numbers were not great. He was ineffective. Yeah. But I mean, I get it. From Vincent Collet position, it's hard. You have to depend on Thomas Hertel. Have Nando De Colo, Elio Kobo. Okay, he hit some spot-up shots, but probably people expected him to be that ball handler who could help a little bit.
We all thought that he's going to replace De Colo, but he was very far away from it.
He was very far away from it. And for Spain, it was just the flow, the way they played, it was so natural. The role players consistently stepping up. Like in one game, it's Dario Brisella hitting shots. It was against Finland. Then in the final, you had some great stretches from Jaime Fernandez. He finished the game with 13 points.
Amazing in the first half.
Yes, in the first half, he was great. And Alberto Diaz is one of those unsung heroes. The defense he was playing, how he was pressuring the ball, and in a crucial moment, the box and one against Germany in the semifinal when he took care of Dennis Schroeder. I mean, Alberto Diaz is really an unsung hero, because not only he was playing great defense, but when it came to him to hit those spot-up shots, he did it. I mean,
in two of the most important games against Germany and in the final.
And some end-one plays, actually, against Lithuania. I remember him driving to the basket, finishing with an end-one. So in the final, when it looked like France is getting closer, Spain always had a response. Like Lorenzo Brown goes deep into the paint, he gathers the defense, he reads the defense, he trusts his teammates, and the corner threes were going in. Spain hit 15 threes from 31. And obviously, it all comes down to Juancho Hernangomez, or should we say Bo Cruz, the way he performed in this final. I said, like, during the broadcast, like it was Juan Carlos Navarro with a bigger body, so it was impossible to guard those shots.
Yeah, and exactly. Spain always responded. I would also add that, when the situation gets closer, Rudy Fernandez hits the three, Usman Garuba with his amazing defensive stops. And there was this moment when Spain got the lead, they were up by 21, and there were at least 2 times where France really closed the gap. They were down by 3, by 5, and I was like, is it happening again? I mean, another miracle is just happening? Because, to be honest, I mean, France, with all the drawbacks we've already mentioned, they shouldn't be even for this game, for the gold medal game.
Probably. The
way they went through Turkey and Italy. But every time the game was close to tie, Spain just responded. And but you just could feel that it's just a better team, better coach team. They had a better chemistry.
Better basketball fundamentals,
I wasn't surprised that Scariolo was so happy just being a basketball coach of a team which played really nice basketball, because that's what they actually did with these role players, with some star players, with some solid rotation players and veterans. They just somehow clicked to become a great basketball team.
Yeah, we know who was the star of the show, like the biggest star, Lorenzo Brown. But
I'm not so sure if we all know. I'm not so sure if we all know.
Gomez, read this.
3 people at this table probably agree on that matter. But I have a question to August about one particular player. That is Usman Garuba. He proved his value to this team in the knockout stages.
Without the points.
Without any points, just being very solid on defense, grabbing the rebounds and assisting also. He was their center for the fourth quarters in the crucial games. So the question is, where do you see Usman Garuba? Do you believe he's NBA material, or do you think that in a few years' time we should see him back in Europe being what he is for Spain right now?
I mean, I don't know what happened with his shooting in the NBA and his shot in particular with his like mechanics and stuff.
Yeah.
But if he develops a shot, why not? I see him in the NBA carving out a role for himself. I really like his energy. I really like his, let's say, this
passion for the game.
Motor
as well, but also, this feel for the ball.
Okay.
Where it's going, and he flourished as a creator in this tournament. We didn't see that much before for the teams he played. And for me, one moment stuck the most. It was the pass with 1 second remaining in the shot clock.
Yeah,
it was
semifinal.
Against Germany. Yeah, I think so.
7 assists.
It was Garuba, just getting his play to the next level. And it was also Scariolo's mindset of playing until the last second. We saw Spain a lot of, shots late in the clock, long possessions, a lot of patience. And this thing was installed in every player. And you can see that in Garuba. So I think the only question for me is his shooting. We all know how important it is now in the NBA, the shooting ability, and how much it adds to your potential and to your playing time. So
yeah, so without
that's a huge if, guys. That's a huge
without
if.
shooting from distance, he's probably a EuroLeague player. Because I remember the scouting reports from NBA people. He was compared to Al Horford.
No way.
Now he's really nothing close to Al Horford.
So yeah, that's a big if, and it's really hard for a player. It also depends on him, if he wants a small role in the NBA or if he wants to be one of the, let's say, main guys here in Europe. So.
But that's another thing that I loved actually about this team, that there's no problem for Villar Gomez to sit big minutes in the fourth quarter, because he knows how important it is to have Garuba on the floor. And he's cheering for his team from the bench. And then when it comes to the last 2 minutes, of course, you start those offense-defense substitutions. But Vili is a team player. He wants to win the gold medal. And there are no issues, because he realizes Usman Garuba is better defensively than I am, even though I have all those big numbers on offense. And now he's the MVP of the tournament, apparently. But yeah, and Scariolo makes a decision, and people trust his decision-making. And that's it.
Yeah,
they win together, they lose together, and as we see now, they're world champions and European champions at the same time.
Everyone was a star in their role.
Yep, exactly.
Everyone bought in.
So Lorenzo Brown got robbed, right?
For sure.
It's kind of clear for us. It was not clear for the rest of the media, because I just checked one more time and it was completely up to the media voting. Also, press officers of these EuroBasket teams could have voted in this voting, but basically, it was all about us media members. And
I voted for Lorenzo. I voted even before the finals. I know that the deadline was like the halftime of the final.
That's a problem, actually. You can have this deadline for the All-EuroBasket team, but when it takes the EuroBasket MVP, I mean, these 2 quarters at the end of the game, they can really decide something.
But that was decided before the final day, and there wasn't really anything that could
But for example, if Spain lose to France, Lorenzo Brown has a miserable game.
Yeah, maybe.
That makes this vote questionable.
And you don't have 2 players then I think from Spain in the All-Star 5.
But again, it's
Imagine France winning, and there's Lorenzo Brown and Willy Hernangomez in the all.
That wouldn't make any sense. Then you would need to have like Gobert and Yabusele or something.
Gobert
like
was still there.
Yeah, but anyway, about the MVP, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and we have to address the elephant in the room. Just our colleagues didn't want to see an American being the MVP of the EuroBasket. It's plain and simple. And I don't care what others say. I had discussions with my friends. They were saying to me, but look, Willy has the biggest efficiency rating in the team and a higher scoring average. Did you watch those games in Berlin? It was all down to Lorenzo Brown in the crunch time, in the fourth quarter. He killed Lithuania. He killed Germany. Look how Lorenzo Brown's poor performance looks in numbers. 14 points, 11 assists, 0 turnovers, just because it was 4 from 13 shooting.
In a gold medal game.
He was the
11
first, assists, 0 turnovers.
He was the first player ever in EuroBasket finals that had double-double in points and assists.
Can Willy Hernangomez get his numbers without Lorenzo?
Nope.
He gets all his points directly from Lorenzo's hands.
It would be interesting to check how many of his points were assisted by Lorenzo Brown, actually.
I would say like 50,
he had the
40,
biggest
50%.
impact on the court. He's the clear MVP of the tournament. And when you look at the averages, well, they played Bulgarian group stages. Somebody got like 32 or 34, I don't remember. It changes everything, but deciding on the MVP, you focus on what happened in the knockout stages. Round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. And I'm sorry, I know Lorenzo Brown is an American. Yeah, I get it. But he was the MVP of the basketball tournament.
If you allow him to play, let's give him credit because he really deserved. Even prior to the final game, he was averaging 23 points and 8 assists per game. He just killed Lithuania with like 15 points starting from the fourth quarter. He was amazing against Germany. I mean, I don't know what else he had to do to become the MVP.
Nothing. People had their minds made up already that they don't want an American MVP, and that's it. They voted how they voted. Actually, my second option would be Dennis Schroeder.
Exactly. If not him,
I know they finished third, but not Willy Hernangomez. Sorry. Respect to Willy. He had a great tournament. I love him, but my second option would be Dennis Schroeder.
And I really think that he got a lot of votes, maybe most of the votes, but FIBA just had to make this decision to award the MVP from the winning team or at least from the final team. But I was really surprised that Willy got all these votes. If you're not voting for Lorenzo Brown, probably you should vote for Schroeder. Yes, so how Willy get all these votes? I really don't get it.
August, what do you think?
I don't know what to add. Your rant was spot on, and just efficiency is overrated. And if you let him play, give him the MVP. I mean, he was responsible for 40-50% of Willy's points. He was the man who had the ball in the last seconds. He closed the games. He got everyone else involved in the first halves of each game, and just it's nonsense.
And it's not only about his offense. Defensively, he was irreplaceable as well as a point guard.
We're not hating Willy's game. We're not hating on him, but it's just, probably even Willy himself would admit that, Brown was the number one option on the team.
Although it's becoming a trend. I mean, the last two European champions, they had very impactful naturalized players.
The highest scoring nation in this EuroBasket was USA.
Yeah. Nice. And Rytis, you don't have a problem with this?
Nah,
you said,
I don't.
Come on.
I just loved basketball, and that's it. I don't really have.
But you have club tournaments during the season,
EuroLeague,
But we've talked about this too many times. If they have this rule, let's just live with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we hate on the rule. We don't hate on the players.
I get it, and I appreciate your position. It's me being me.
That's the main thing. You cannot complain against these naturalized players when you get killed by them. I mean, somebody should have made some official moves. And you can remember Bo McCaleb leading North Macedonia to the semifinals of EuroBasket.
Yeah, North Macedonia, you said it, right? Because last time
exactly. We got some complaints. Exactly. So, I mean, there were more previous examples. Almost in every EuroBasket, you had more than 10 teams having naturalized players. Nobody complained about Kendrick Perry playing for Montenegro or Jalen Smith playing for Croatia. But as soon as there is some great player MVP contender, legit MVP of the EuroBasket. Now everybody talks about that. Why federations, they're not doing anything against this rule, just to put some package of rules like that guy, if he's getting naturalized, he has either to have parents or grandfathers from that country, or they have to play there at least 3 or 5 years to become eligible for the national team basketball. I mean, there should be some official movement rather than just, oh, this guy, can you ask him any question in Spain because he won't answer it. I got all these jokes, even in the press conference. I mean it's bullshit.
But randomly one night I was just looking through old EuroBasket squads, like FIBA EuroBasket 2001, and I found on Team Slovenia Ariel McDonald. So it was happening 20 years ago.
Gregor Fuchka was the MVP of, I think, 1999 EuroBasket. He was naturalized player because he's Slovenian.
So, it has roots like
way
from
back
20 years ago, way back in the beginning of the 21st century. And they had this rule and they still have this rule and will live with this rule. Obviously, it is becoming a trend. I think if we're talking about Spain, maybe it's just a one-time thing. Like what happened with Lorenzo Brown. Probably Jorge Garbajosa thought, well, we've lost Ricky Rubio, we need to do something. And that was the decision they made. Maybe it was not an easy decision. I think in the future, we will not see American point guards on Spanish roster. Although Nikola Mirotic, Serge Ibaka, they also count as naturalized players. So it's not like Spain never had done this before, but they did it with players that had some connection to let's say, Spanish basketball, like Mirotic. They tried to do it probably with Doncic. It just was not possible because Doncic was so much devoted to Slovenia.
France will have Joel Embiid.
France will have Joel Embiid. I'm really tired of talking about this. Yeah, if you're asking me if I have a problem with it, I don't. But I get it why you're not happy. I get it.
I mean,
at least there is evidence we were not happy before the tournament and not only now after Spain won. So that's
but at least we're kind of professional in a sense that we accept that Lorenzo Brown deserved this MVP award.
It's a basketball decision. It's not an emotional decision. It's a basketball decision. Just vote for the best player. That's it.
And that's the problem of our basketball federation. As soon as the tournament gets finished, I mean, everybody just complains about something. Everybody will talk about Lorenzo Brown for a few days, and then it's over. The same with referees. I mean, every tournament since 2017, when EuroLeague referees were isolated from FIBA competitions, every tournament there were a lot of complaints, and FIBA should do something. Oh, these refs sucks and stuff like that. But we didn't see any effort from federations to finally really do something about it. I mean, from the organization side, because we still have these tournaments without EuroLeague referees, and we are talking about 59 EuroLeague refs. And this press conference by FIBA Europe General Secretary Kamil Novak and Demirel, the president of FIBA Europe, was just a big joke. It was a total lie, and it just comes to the Belgium head coach who just said after the 8th final game, after the round of 16 game against Slovenia, that we should stop lying to ourselves. And that's what happens with the referees. He told that the refereeing wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It was terrible.
Exactly. It was horrible. He told that the refereeing wasn't bad, and we cannot. And when we just started with these follow-up questions about, making the tournament stronger, because they also said our effort is to make, to put for the players to make them play in the best conditions. And when you think about it, referees is one of the most important conditions. And he says that they did everything what they can. It's a total joke, because Kamil Novak, he told that they cannot include EuroLeague referees because they cannot measure them during the FIBA windows because they're officiating in the EuroLeague. And
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because when you just start logically, rationally think about it, we don't have any questions about the NBA players when they cannot play in FIBA windows, right? They for sure gonna play for the national teams in summer because they're playing at the highest level league in the world. And also, if that's such a huge problem, why not to put them in the youth competitions, U20, U18, U16, EuroBasket, let them officiate in the final games. And then just trying to find another logical explanation in this nonsense situation. Just look at the domestic leagues, because this is what Kamil Novak said. Oh, our referees, they're every weekend they're officiating for the best teams in their domestic leagues. I just looked the stats of this season final games and the assignments that they're made for these games. There are 3 assignments for every game, and I mean 3 referees. So from the top 10 leagues, excluding VTB League and French League, because I didn't get any information who were the referees of these games, there were 99 assignments. 58 of them were for the EuroLeague referees. I mean, I think we have enough arguments. I mean, why Kamil Novak and FIBA is just lying to ourselves?
Yeah, that whole press conference was just complete shambles. I just couldn't stand listening to it. But yes, you're right. Of course, we want our EuroLeague refs, and probably FIBA is doing a favor to EuroLeague, because right now coaches like Itudis and EuroLeague players will appreciate a little bit more the refereeing standards they face every week playing in the EuroLeague. Because in EuroLeague, sometimes we hear complaints. Yes, sometimes you can complain that Mirotic is getting some star calls or whatever, but
that's normal.
After this EuroBasket, I think we as fans and journalists will appreciate a lot more what the crew is doing in EuroLeague.
Donatas with the stat of the night, man.
Yeah, that's
really interesting.
Deep analysis.
Yeah. We will make the article about it just to expose, FIBA position, because it's just total bullshit. The same with the attendance. I mean, they said that they're super happy and they think that attendance numbers were success. Didn't they watched games in Tbilisi, for example?
And how can it be a success when you don't have a sold out arena in the final?
I saw a video from the final. There were Greek fans chanting Hellas. Yeah. And Greek was, I don't know, 1 week out before.
I mean, they bought the tickets. They expected their team to be there. But I mean, in Germany it was okay, but as you said, in Tbilisi it was terrible.
Yeah. And I think that
just
the numbers from the group stage in Cologne with all these top teams helped to increase the average attendance of the tournament. But Berlin was a disappointment.
But this is what I hate about those FIBA conferences. They are just making those conferences to spread the message how everything is cool and how we're doing a great job, how everybody is doing their best. And in reality, it's not. It's not like that.
And we're not stupid. I mean, maybe there are some other people who doesn't have that critical thinking, let's say.
Yeah.
But when you just follow basketball, when you're trying to, get deep into it, and you just watch some games, when you have just basketball understanding, you see how referees are, doing their job. You hear what the back-to-back EuroLeague champion coach saying, or EuroBasket champion coach saying, one of the best players in the world says that FIBA should do something about it. And Nicola Melli, who doesn't complain a lot about the referees, also says that FIBA should do something. And then you hear the response from the FIBA official saying that refereeing wasn't bad. I mean, this is disrespectful for all these stars, the main guys, why we're, going to a gym to watch all those games, why we're sitting at the TV screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else to say.
And nothing probably going to change in the upcoming competitions.
I don't think so.
That's the sad part.
Next year in the World Cup, we're going to live with even more random refereeing from Venezuela, South Korea, and Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on these countries, but I'm just saying that we want elite refs to whistle for elite players.
And it doesn't mean that with EuroLeague refs we will avoid those mistakes. At least we will reduce the possibility of these mistakes, because they're used to highest level basketball, highest intensity basketball, athleticism, speed. What kind of speed you're getting in FIBA Champions League and FIBA Euro Cup competitions? I mean, there are tremendous players who are then later going to the EuroLeague and they're having good seasons over there. But come on, I mean, it's even ridiculous that we have to explain things why it's bad.
The final was highlighted by the Rudy Fernandez shot that obviously hit the rim, and new shot clock was not given. And then they go on and give a technical to Scariolo. And then, of course, the famous Lorenzo Brown slip and the ghost foul. And, of course, the follow-up was a technical. So the number of technical fouls that was given in Berlin in the knockout stages proves not that the coaches and players were too emotional. It just proves that these refs were not capable of controlling the game. That's it.
They were acting just like FIBA does. I mean, if they're making a mistake, they're getting, arguments and responses why they're making mistake. They're bringing this unhappiness, and then they just try to punish you again.
Yeah, rather than admit your own mistakes, you just go on and punish people that are complaining. Yeah.
It's nothing
great-
wrong.
great
with
strategy.
That's a great approach.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go with our all EuroBasket 5, right? Because we have a clear call on the MVP. There was official EuroBasket, all EuroBasket 5 with Dennis Schroeder, Lorenzo Brown, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Rudy Gobert, and Willy Hernangomez.
Yeah.
Do you have any changes or
I
your
think
own
we're
ideas?
all three are going to agree on the only change for this 5.
At least one change, yeah.
I have only one, and it's Lauri Markkanen for Willy.
The same. I voted, like I said, before the finals, and my 5 was Schroeder, Lorenzo, Giannis, Lauri Markkanen, and Rudy Gobert. Although now that Spain are champions, I can admit that they maybe deserve 2 spots, and Willy Hernangomez has to be there if he's voted the MVP. But Lauri Markkanen just carried a team that, if you take him out of the roster, Finland doesn't make it to the knockout stages. With him, they made it to the quarterfinals, and they were competitive against the champions.
They had a 15-point lead.
And Lauri Markkanen was just a scoring machine.
He was averaging 35
And
points
look
in
at
the knockout
his field
stage.
goal percentage. Look at his field goal. He didn't need like 40 shots to do it. Against Croatia, he did what he wanted to do on the court. He was just purely unstoppable.
And let's say he didn't need Lorenzo Brown to score.
He didn't have a point guard.
Yeah.
Adon Majuni was his point guard from Estonian league. So
I understand, Spain getting 2 spots in the all
Because they're
tournament 5
champions,
because they're champions, but I think Markkanen was so unstoppable and doing everything on his own that he deserved a spot, even if they were, from 5th to 8th place.
yeah.
And the only other thing I was thinking about this 5 was, should we include a Poland guy? Should we include Mateusz Ponitka in this
I don't
tournament
think
5?
so, really. I was thinking about
Just for the
Ponitka.
triple-double?
Just for the whole performance in the tourney, the good averages.
His last 2
16,
games-
6,
But if
7.
you were voting after the semis and after the bronze medal game,
Oh, yeah.
then
No, I mean, just
Yeah.
give some award for carrying Poland to this historical feat for 4th place, because usually, I think I might be mistaken, but I imagine the all tournament 5 is the winners have 2 spots, and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place get 1 each. This is
Yeah,
the usual
usually.
thing. But because this year we had such individual talents going out in previous stages, this is where it gets, a little bit more interesting. And we see Giannis here.
it was impossible to omit Giannis.
Of course, yeah.
I was even thinking
I agree.
about Luka replacing Rudy Gobert, for example, because I think Gobert was exceptional in round of 16 and quarterfinal game, starting from the semifinals.
Can you have a lineup without a single French player since they made
That's
it to
the problem.
final?
But the problem is that France didn't have an exceptional player, to make this all 5.
Yes,
We
I know.
kind of have to,
it's a
put
decision
Rudy
between
Gobert just
Rudy and
because.
Yabusele.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you have this greatness of Luka Doncic. I mean, even in the game they lost, he was a game changer. Playing through pain, limping and stuff. He was doing amazing
I
things.
was like him in the
wasn't good,
quarterfinal.
yeah.
I think in quarterfinal he
No, it was bad game for him by his standards, of course. But I mean, he was playing through injury in a very
but when you're
complicated
voting
game.
for all tournament lineup, do you take into consideration that someone was injured? I think not.
I take into consideration that this guy had a 47-point game against the finalists. Few other amazing games in the toughest group of the
but
tournament.
his team lost
Yeah.
against a complete underdog.
Yeah, I agree, but
And he
I just
wasn't-
had second thoughts because Luka Doncic was just too great, and that's why I was thinking about putting him in the all 5.
No.
I didn't take it on my own when I was voting, but
Nah, I didn't.
I
even
wouldn't say
consider him.
Luka. I wouldn't say Luka was that great. Like, I expected more from him. I know he had a legendary performance and he had a couple more great games, but the other ones, he was, let's say, below his standard level. And especially in that last game, I know, okay, he was injured, but you cannot, set an example like he did in some of these games, especially on defense. I know you have to preserve energy for the offensive part, but just the example you're setting for your teammates is not the one you kind of want to see. So I don't see him as my.
No, I don't.
Not at
In
all.
the end, he got fouled out with his team still being in the game, and he couldn't hit crucial shots. He missed 2 free throws. He missed a step back jumper, and his team lost to Poland. I could see it differently if they lost like to Serbia.
Or like Giannis to Germany.
Yeah, they lost to Germany, and Germany played the game of the tournament. So I can accept that, but Luka Doncic, no, he doesn't deserve an all tournament lineup in this case.
So I think we have a clear ranking for these 3 NBA superstars we discussed the most before the tournament, right?
I think
so. I mean, there's Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We discussed about them a lot. We were arguing which teams fits better around these stars and who gonna win the EuroBasket. Yeah. None of them made the semifinals, which makes this tournament amazing again. But if we would rank them, who would you go first with?
Giannis.
Is it Giannis
Antetokounmpo, right? Sure. First of all, Greece didn't lose because Giannis didn't deliver. He delivered. He did his part. They lost because of other reasons. They couldn't cope with the Germans shooting the ball, and they couldn't hit their spot-up shots that were created from Giannis being on the court and Germany building the wall. So Giannis had a good tournament in terms of individual performances.
Although let's admit, I was surprised that defensively Greece wasn't that great. I mean, I remember you also emphasized that Giannis adds not only offensive presence, but huge defensive potential.
Yeah, I expected more.
They allowed more than 90 points per game. They were one of the worst teams per points scored per possession. I was a bit surprised.
And it's not the Germans were, hitting ridiculous shots. It was Greece that allowed them to do that. They weren't doing all the necessary stuff to intimidate Andreas Obst from hitting those threes. They scored three pointers.
Germany ran the same play for Obst like 3 times in a row.
I was about to say that. They scored 3 times. I think 2 times Obst and 1 time Wagner did it. And like such simple things like jumping from the ball when there is a pass and it's a shooter coming out. You jump to the ball because if not, there is nobody here to disrupt the shot. The center on the staggers, on pin downs, just sitting way behind in the paint, not intimidating the shooter. And when in what kind of form Andreas Obst was in this tournament, I was expecting more, or finding him in a transition defense. Just simple mistakes like this.
Yeah, I agree that Greece disappointed from defensive perspective. However, Giannis, I think he was good.
He was consistent. That's what's also important if you talk about. If you compare him with Luka,
his team lost in the quarterfinals, but so far for Giannis, it was his best FIBA tournament.
And they lost to a team which had a serious case for winning the gold medal. Yeah.
So then, if we rank number 2, I actually would go for Nikola Jokic.
Same,
because Serbia didn't lose because of him. He was there dominating. He was underplayed, as we discussed. Every time he got the ball, he was either fouled or he scored. We knew that he will have struggles defensively. We knew that those pick and pops that the Italians are running will be a nightmare for him. But it's okay as long as he's dominating offensively. And Serbia didn't lose because Jokic was not doing his part. Serbia lost because Micic was very chaotic.
What was that defense?
He was not the EuroLeague MVP.
Understood.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say he scored, 32 in that game?
Yep.
And probably Italy scored the same amount on him, like creating advantages through those pick and pops.
Yes.
They were amazing. We have to say that. But it's 32, let's say 30-30.
It matches it.
It matches it. The other part that made all the difference was terrible defense from Vasilija Micic on Marcus Pisu in the 4th quarter, and probably not enough time. Just everyone.
None of the role players stepped up for Serbia. Like Guduric, he couldn't hit a shot.
A lot of missed open shots as well.
Yep. So Jokic was not a problem for Serbia. He did his part. Others didn't.
I don't know. I have Luka as my second in this ranking just because I cannot take Serbia seriously because they went from a really weak group and they failed it round of 8.
Luka lost to Poland.
Luka lost to Poland.
Luka lost to Poland, man.
Yeah, but they made the quarterfinals. They beat few great
what
teams.
What do you mean
before.
They made the quarterfinals? They beat Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah, but they
was a good
team. They were first in a tough group with France, with Germany. I mean, I don't know. I think that Luka, except from a couple bad performances, I mean, we have also taken into account that he had the least talent around him. So I don't know. I mean, when I think about this ranking, I also have to think about the team performance. Well, and except from game against Poland, I mean,
But how can you
They were not that
exclude
bad.
that game? It was the most important game. And it was Slovenia, the European champions, against Poland, against aging AJ Slaughter and Mateusz Ponitka, who doesn't have a EuroLeague contract.
Zero
Poland
EuroLeague or NBA
has
players.
Zero EuroLeague or NBA players. And Slovenia starts the game with disrespectful complacency. They were not respecting the game of basketball. And it all starts from Luka. I'm sorry. You know that I love Luka as
Yeah,
much as
but-
anybody, but come on, man.
But why we have to focus on this game only when we had
Because it fucked up their tournament.
36 points against Germany, 47 against France. I mean,
Look, he could...
even without
Save-
scoring points, he makes a huge impact as it happened in the game against Lithuania.
So they could finish fourth in their group and go on and win everything in Berlin. It doesn't really matter about the group stage. They could lose to France or Germany.
It matters when you think about the opponents. It's just the same like with Lithuania. Everybody kind of emphasized that, they were eliminated in the round of 16.
Yeah.
But everybody forgets to which team we actually lost. Everybody forgets about the process we had, about the teams we had played against. I mean, and how we were close of beating them. I don't know.
But the man didn't show up when it mattered the most. He got fouled out, and the triple-double...
Also because
the
referees
triple-double
failed,
was
especially
from
with this
Ponitka.
technical foul. I mean, I'm not defending him on this last game, but I think we have to take into account the whole competition.
So across the whole competition, I would go for Jokic because in a crucial game, he was there for his team and Luka wasn't. That's my take.
And I don't
Could be.
really see a difference going out in the 8th final or the quarterfinal. To me, it makes really no difference. You know, you are not completing what was your goal, neither Serbia, neither Slovenia, and whether you are from 5th to 8th or from 9th to 16th, I don't think these two countries really care. And I don't think Luka was just consistent enough throughout the tournament. He was struggling to start in the first couple of games with his shot. He had 2 amazing performances, but then again, the same performance just like we saw in the first 2 games to finish off the tournament. So I also see Jokic as number 2.
Since this EuroBasket was probably the EuroBasket of upsets, with a lot of unpredictable results that happen, and with all these title contenders being eliminated and early into the knockout stage, let's rank the biggest upsets. Let's make a top 3 of the biggest upsets. What you guys have?
I have a question for you. Do you think Poland beating Slovenia is a bigger upset than Spain winning it all?
Yes. To me, yes.
Poland number 1?
Yep.
Because we were like in the power rankings. I know I'm mixing games.
I think
performances.
Spain winning the gold medal is a bigger
winning
upset.
the gold medal was improbable, but not impossible.
But it's like we're
And
talking
Poland being
about
in a
one
semifinal
game.
to me looked impossible.
I don't know.
That's also true, but
That's true.
I
That's a good
just
argument.
remember here us doing the power rankings, and we had Spain as in the 8th team, I think.
I don't even think that you had
I
Spain
don't
as
remember
eighth.
if we had him in a top.
I
eight.
I had
it.
8th.
I had
maybe
eighth, yeah.
I think I'm thinking
Someone had Germany, I think, in there.
probably
Yeah.
I had Germany.
I had Spain 8th, and
And I just think that
look how it finished.
looking long term,
But
It's-
I had
it's
Poland
way
like
harder.
23rd.
it's way harder to have Spain winning the EuroBasket for the entire tournament than just have one bad game from Slovenia and to have this upset. Really,
I was thinking about this coming here, and I was probably leaning to your side. I mean, this long-term success for Spain, it's more impressive than Poland beating Slovenia. But I know that the initial shock, when hearing Poland beating Slovenia is bigger. But just I think it's way much harder for a long-term success to happen than just, one game in the single elimination tournament.
The thing is that ever since Spain overcame Lithuania, I actually believe that it's possible. Then I saw, they're playing Croatia or Finland in the quarterfinals. More than capable of winning those games with Scariolo at the wheel. In the semis, they're going to face Greece or Germany. Okay, it's going to be tough. Not impossible.
I don't think they were favorites neither in the semifinal by the
bookies.
Yeah.
No, in
Neither in the
in the
final,
round of
nor-
16, Lithuania was the favorites. In the semifinal,
Except
Germany was the favorites, and in the final, I think France by
also.
a very thin margin. By a very thin margin. So, yeah, but in my eyes, like I said, ever since Spain won against Lithuania, I believe that it is possible. And in Poland's case, first of all, I thought they were going to lose to Ukraine. And secondly, Slovenia, Poland, I didn't expect anything from that game.
You just thought that, Slovenians, after seeing Giannis lose and Jokic lose, you just thought, okay, we're just going to come out to this game and just destroy this team because we can't allow the same thing that happened to them happen to us. And then you see a 58-point first half from Poland. And then Poland went on to score less points in 2 of the first halves in the semifinal and the third game match. Yep. I think they scored 43 points in 40 minutes and 58 in 20 minutes against Slovenia.
Yep.
It's just, for me, it's
well,
crazy.
for me, the top 3 of upsets is Poland beating Slovenia, number 1, Spain crowned champions, number 2, and Italy, Serbia, number 3.
I cannot include Greece in this list because, first of all, I kind of knew...
It was not that much of an upset.
First of all, Germany was playing great and they just lost to a better team. And the next thing is that I remember there was this bracket and I think that Greece, in one way or another, it was a high possibility that they were getting some big team, maybe France in the quarterfinals, for example. And we had a very different approach on France before the tournament. So I kind of thought that Greece might fail to make the semifinal just because of the bracket, So...
But in Serbia's case, we didn't imagine this tournament ending up without Serbia in the semis.
Yeah. We thought that Serbia and Slovenia will face each other in the semifinals, and then who knows?
There were some other upsets that I wrote down here. Belgium beating Spain by 10 in the group stage.
An underrated game.
An underrated game, just like Ukraine beating Italy in Milano. For me, that was, I know they were playing great, and Italy, if you live by 3, you also die by 3. Yeah. So it was just one of those games. But and Bosnia beating Slovenia as well.
Yeah, also in the Balkan derby. Well, but I talked with an Italian journalist before Italy Serbia, and he said to me like, we lost our tournament in Milan when we lost to Ukraine because now it's over for us. And then,
they should be a semifinal.
You can actually say they should have been a semifinal team because out of all people, you didn't expect Fontecchio to miss 2 free throws. So, yeah.
I might have jinxed it. I bought his jersey after the Italy-Serbia game.
Was it an Squadra Azzurra jersey or
the blue one?
Baskonia jersey? Like
no,
Italy.
The Italy,
Italy jersey, okay.
I was so hyped and then just went on to the internet and I was like, okay, I'm going to be like Reed is the next podcast. It arrives, I'm going to come with Fontecchio jersey.
Honestly, I think he's a great replacement for Joe Ingles in the Utah Jazz.
Seeing the way he plays
I don't see any reason why he should fail in the NBA.
Just that confidence is rare and combined with his ability, it will be so interesting to see him there.
That's all, guys, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was amazing EuroBasket experience with all the pre-tournament vibes. Oh yeah, Gitas is just reminding us that if you like our content, please subscribe our YouTube channel, press like on this video to help us grow. And we will take some rest now. We definitely need some rest. And probably starting from the next week, Ritis, right? Could be. There's a possibility. Yeah, we will try to approach the upcoming EuroLeague season because it's in like 2 or 3 weeks, not much time left and a lot of things to discuss. So thank you guys being here for this whole EuroBasket campaign and let's see each other soon for the EuroLeague season.